Hey there, today we're taking a look at Battlefield 1 running on the i5-1135G7. Now this is currently set to 1080p, but with the in-game resolution scaling set all the way down to 70% and all of the in-game settings set to low. And you can see here what everything is set to. Overall, I would say that the performance like this is just not really playable. You'll see that we're keeping right now an average of 38, which isn't too bad, and the 1% low of 26, but it's just not a good experience. Already, we've had to drop the resolution down pretty dramatically. In a game like this, where a lot of engagements can end up being super far away, you are going to struggle to see anyone. I mean, it's going to be just brutal. Now, I was playing on a 14-inch laptop screen here, and the resolution was not doing me any favors. I was pretty much just hunched over like a gremlin, just trying to see anything off in the distance here. And the performance was not great because there would be a noticeable input lag here and there that would really just bring down the game. It was just not an enjoyable experience. I would say that for a first-person shooter like this, you're just not going to have a fun time with these kinds of specs. Even locking the game to 30, I think you're putting yourself at such a big disadvantage that unless you are such a die-hard Battlefield fan that you would play this game no matter what, I just think it's not worth it on this chip. You're going to find first-person shooters that are just a better experience overall here. Yeah, they're not going to be the same thing as Battlefield, but they're going to be playable. And that's what really matters the most. I mean, here, I was so struggling to see this person. They were such a small little a collection of pixels for me that it was just brutal to actually see where their body was. It was just not a good experience at all. I think once you really start to sacrifice on the resolution for a game like this, you're putting yourself into a position where you're either going to be a close quarters Andy or you're going to not be able to play the game. And that's really where I was at here. You know, I was planning on sitting here and playing through a bunch of different rounds. This was literally the first one I jumped into, and I was pretty much done after that because it's not a fun experience. I love this game. This game is fantastic. It's actually one of my favorite Battlefield games, but I just could not play it at these settings, you know. And it's not one of those things where I'm such an elitist where I feel like I need to get 1,000 frames per second or else I'm, you know, not doing a good job in the game. It's more along the lines of you just feel so weighed down. You feel like you are limited by what you can do. You're playing a whole different game compared to everybody else pretty much because you will not be able to see enemies a lot of the time. So overall, I would say that this is a pass. This is not worth giving it a shot. It's literally not even worth the time of downloading it unless you feel like you could play at these settings, because you look at those, you know, numbers and you think, well, we're almost getting 50 here. You know, 46 can't be that bad. The problem is, if this was just full native 1080p, I would say, oh yeah, no, you could power through this. You're not going to have the greatest experience. But the fact that we have to drop down to the in-game resolution of 70%, that is almost 720p. You really start to notice the visual quality degradation there. And it's really just not an enjoyable experience, especially because you get the quality degradation and you have to deal with input lag. You know, that's the big problem here. It's the fact that as those frame times start to spike around, you feel that as input lag. So it's just not a great experience overall. But anyways, that is it for me, guys. Be sure to subscribe. If you're not subscribed, be sure to suggest any games that you want to see, because this was actually a suggestion that I got. I never even really thought about playing it on here after how bad the experience was with Battlefield 4, but I wanted to see. And I mean, honestly, it borders on playability for sure, but I just think that it's at a level where you're just not going to have a fun time. You know, I certainly didn't have a fun time. I don't think most people would have a fun time playing like this. I can't even really say that it's like a console-like experience, you know, because it's too inconsistent. But anyways, I'll see you guys.